Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 16th of August 2025 and the time is 8:24 a.m. Another early uprising for the Mama T. Bodas here is sending me out into the fray on a daily basis like she's done for the last 60 years, and where are we now? August the 16th. 60 years and 4 months. By the God, that time went fast, didn't it? 4 months. Where did that go? Anyway, as you can see, we can't quite see, but I'm still in my nightie. I can't be asked. I feel good this morning. She says hacking up a lump, but my sleep results, I only stopped breathing 0.5 times an hour last night, which is excellent results after that backslide with the soreness when I was back to 4.6 or something horrible like that. So the Mama T is breathing in her sleep. I mean, it's an astonishing thought, I know, for me, but most of you are like, everyone breathes in their sleep, Tanya, but the Mama T does not. Well, she does now. She's getting good at breathing in her sleep. Don't think I had any dreams. Can't remember. If I dreamt, I don't remember them. I very likely did dream, but they're evaporated with the sunshine and the first morning light that hit the back of my retina. All memories of dreams are gone. But I had a lovely day yesterday, and I've been up since 7:30, so a bit of a sleep in because I've been getting up at 5 and 6, which was extraordinarily unusual. So I'm moving back into my normal patterning, which is, I think I'm happy with that. You know, my normal is different to other people's normal, you understand. It's always been that way, it will always be that way, but it is what it is. Beautiful people, planet Earth, and all other interdimensional entities. I haven't got any lipstick on. My lips are all cracked from the CPAP and, you know, I look ugly. Who's going to love me now? No one. But I'm alive, and that's half the battle. I can throw in a bit of makeup and lipstick and fake it till I make it, like I've been doing for 60 years and 4 months too. But I can't be asked. No fakery allowed at Sacred Space. I missed going dancing last night. I missed it, but, you know, I really didn't feel 100%. And but my sleep results were better, so I'm on the mend. So I wonder who's playing next Friday, because if it's anything I like, I'll be pushing my old lady bones, attitude and raspy lungs right back out there, baby girls and baby boys. It's why I don't bother with lipstick, because I'm eating banana bread that I baked 2 days ago. It's really good. I might have to do that again. Fattening, but the Mama T's got to eat something. And I've still got the lovely Pfeffernusse that my friend Lynn Sloan buys me. She's the only one who buys me these little German biscuits, which I'm fairly sure she buys in Aldi. And it's just a nod to my German heritage. It's one of the few nods that I allow. Because of my mother, some things are kind of triggers, but I don't get triggered by Pfeffernusse because they taste nice, oddly enough. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate Germans per se, you know. I just hate what the Nazis did to my people in World War II. And not just my people, but the Roma, the LGBTIQ, the pacifists, the handicapped. Only one who dared speak out against Hitler, you know. That entire Shoah that was beyond awful. Beyond awful. But now we've got a new one, haven't we? Most people are still in denial about it in their open-air prisons, fed by the state, lies and bullshit. It's good for your health, people. Have another booster, people, you idiots. Well, you didn't know any better. You didn't have the luxury of growing up with people who lived through, you know, a concentration camp and were predatory and awful. And so you couldn't see the signs of the predators when they were right up in front of your face, smiling at you from their television. That monster, Palace Chook, that thing. Oh, it's verminous. I don't know how it walks around in polite society, carrying on as normal. They're utterly shameless. Palace Chook, Kelly, Miles, Darth, so in your face, even his surname means death. I mean, it was a constant. Every time she'd come on, I'd just burst out into hysterical gales of laughter. But it's not funny. It's not funny. None of it is funny. But that a Labour government implemented that, even more horrifying. More horrifying. But, you know, the Liberals, they were complicit in it. They were all in it up to their nasa full. They were up to their nostrils in their own evil Agenda 30 perpetrating upon innocent people. Oh, I hope they all hang one day. I really do. I might even, if it actually happened, I'd be there in the front row seat, just like Tale of Two Cities, knitting. I don't take delight in people's deaths normally. I think it's an evil and that kind of level of schadenfreude. It's a taint on the soul. But those monsters, oh, there'd be parties all across Brisbane because I'd start them. We'd be celebrating for days and weeks and months. There'd be festivities and Mama T had just been knitting. Natural law, natural justice. The gods will reap vengeance. They're coming. The gods. They're coming. What is it? 31I-Atlas. I bet you they pass us by. I was going to say Jesus, but Jesus ain't got nothing to do with that. None of it. Can't rely on him anyway with that filthy, tainted religion. Suffering the little children and the endemic child abuse. Can't rely on Moshe Avinu or, you know, Abraham, Jacob and Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel. Can't rely on any of them because our religion has been corrupted and tainted by endemic child sexual abuse as well. And, you know, you can't. I don't think you're safe in any of the religions if you're a child. Not one. What did I say the other day? They need to be all banned. The worst hypocrisy is to pretend to be providing a firm foundation, a structure of safety and peace and love and light, and meanwhile they're essaying and all our little babies, and when they're not doing that, they're poisoning them. By the gods. By the gods. Maybe I should be grateful that I don't have grandchildren, because I tell you what, anyone harmed my grandchildren, I would go, whew, It would be a Boadicea war that would make the Romans quiver in their knees. Yes, she took out 50,000 Romans with her little band of fighting men and women. Because when they messed with her daughters, they took too much. I'm with her. I'm with you on that one, Boadicea. Take your lands, take your money, but they take your dignity. They take too much. Right, on a happy note, it's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. I'm alive against all the odds. Boadicea kicked me back into planet Earth for another day in paradise. She says, and you still come up fighting on your last breath, my beautiful Tanya. Yes, I did, Boadicea. Yes, I did. Wow. My little handsome Kermie and Bo, son of Boadicea, Bobo, little Bo. Guess what? He was so thirsty this morning. He hates that worming stuff I have to give him. Refused it. I think he had a little drink of it last night. So hopefully that was enough to, you know, kill any worms he might have. But he hates it. So first thing I gave him is water, fresh water this morning. Oh, he was drinking it down, looking at me like, thank the goddess. And then he sneezed because it must have got into his ear. But he looked at me with such like defiance, like, I'm grateful, but I hate you, you bitch. Why did you torture me with that medicine? And I looked at him and I was like, you know, little Bo, that's how I feel about when I'm put on medications too. I'm grateful because it may or may not be life-saving, but I don't enjoy the process. Anyway, we're fighters in this family. Even the little bird's got a lot of feistiness in him and attitude, and he's such a happy little lad now. What about you, Kermie? You have your drink? Yes. They're happy little birdies now. I'm going to buy a bigger outside cage for little Bo too. Just got to pay off. I've got to pay off the $200, which will happen in a few weeks. And then I think I'll buy him a bigger outdoors cage, because in summer or spring when it heats up again, I'm going to have them outside a lot, you know, when it's hot out there. And I'll put some shade cloth over their cages, but they can be outdoors birdies in the heat, and then they'll only come in if it's raining or if it gets cold or at night. I think that's what I'll do, people of Earth. So that cage that I'm still paying off cost me $400. So, and it'll probably rust being outside. That's the only thing I worry about, it rusting. But then I guess if it lasts a year before it rusts, $400 a year might last 2 years if I cover it at night. Maybe make a tarpaulin or something. I'll work it out. I'm working it out, little Bo. Yes. Don't like you being in your tiny little cage even outside. Cramps your style, doesn't it, little one? Yes, the Mama T. Mama T does not like any animal, bird or the mama having her style cramped. Says she cramped in this tiny little room, this tiny little house. I think that's what I'm doing it for. I can't improve my situation, but I can improve theirs. So there you go. And also in summer, I'm mostly outside too, sitting under the trees or in my hammock, or, you know, So it doesn't matter that my house is small in summer. It's only a nuisance in winter when I'm sick and I'm stuck in here, all cramped by my own possessions, you understand. I've been thinking about it this morning. I've still got my mother's lardro. I don't know what I can get for it, but I might actually sell that to buy some gold bullion so I can make a nice ring, because I don't look at the lardro. It's shoved in that cupboard there and doesn't spark joy, but if I have a nice ring or pendant, I'll wear it all the time. And I'll get the value out of it, you know, the enjoyment out of it. So I'm thinking about that, because no one buys lardro. It's out of fashion. It's been out of fashion for 30 years. No one's wanted it, but well, there might be a serious collector out there that might want it. It mustn't be negative. So I'm going to email the Albion Antique Centre auctions, send them some photos and just see what they say. You know, I think I tried to send them to an auction room about 10 years ago. I didn't even get a reply. That's how uninterested they were. Anyway, I can give it another try. My hand's itchy. Really itchy. I can give it another try and transmute that into gold. I'm obsessing about gold lately. I'm obsessing a lot about gold. This tells me that there's some other crisis cooked up by our globalist defective misfits, and we're going to need the buffer of gold to survive, buy food and transact things. It's a bit of a scary thought, but when Mama T obsesses over things, it doesn't always make sense at the time. I'm nearly always on point. It makes sense down the track, you know. And then I go, oh, that's what that was about. Anyway, we mustn't be negative, because if you're too negative, you actually manifest all that ghastly fucking horror, you know. You've got to look at life as if life is a gift and a potentiate, and everything is flowing to you. The good, the abundance, the prosperity, the success, the peace, the good fortune, the joy, the delight, the happiness, the truest, greatest love of your life that's loyal and faithful and stands by you. And I'm hiding my scars from my peeling bloody lips, because they're peeling because I've been sick. When I had the CPAP, I'm mouth breathing all the time, so my mouth got very dry and very sore, and the skin peeled, and well, I improved last night, so it's worth persevering with it, even though I hate it. Those machines only last 5 years, I think, so we're 13 months in, just over 13 months, and now I'm worried because new machine, you know, that one cost $1,500, my benefactor. So, and then the masks are like $200. I'm due for a new one, but not yet. My last one only lasted 6 months, but this one's done just over 6 months, so I'm hoping I get another 6 months before I have to buy another one. All the time. This is how I exist in the world, people. Moshing, circling the drain, worrying about money, money, money. Life is funny in a rich man's world. Anyway, it'll be okay. That's what I'm saying. Because I can, if I have to, I can put things on zip pay. But I'm paying off my zip pay. I want to be debt free. Completely debt free. Apart from, my Optus contract with my phone. Which is a pain in my ass, but had to because the phone didn't work anymore. Anyway, it's lovely having a new phone because I can make these YouTube videos and talk to you and rave on about, my hopes and aspirations and my healing process and my weird little ambitions and my little segues. So on that note, enough about that, people of Earth. Probably boring you, stupid. And I hope not. I hope I haven't bored you. And let's carry on with chapter 22. See how I was talking about manifesting money and progress and healing and success and prosperity. What's the title of today's chapter? Rock bottom. Ironic, isn't it? Well, sometimes it's like that. You got to hit rock bottom to appreciate life and all the good things that blossom from it, and start scrabbling out of your own fecal matter, or worse, other people's fecal matter. And you start growing and evolving and turning your sunflower soul to the sun, and following it all day long, always in the light of happiness and bliss and determination and aspirations, and growing and turning and whirling dervishing at times. And bit by bit you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you create a better life for yourself. That was always the plan in my case, but unfortunately I got stymied and beaten back by evil and serious ill health and cumulative traumas. So that's why I'm not anywhere near most of you out there at age 60, why I'm so very far behind. But it's okay. It's not a competition. And maybe one day I might make it. Wouldn't that be astonishing, people of Earth? Mama T, making it. If you want to shoot somebody, walk up and shoot them. Don't spray a house. That doesn't make you tough. That doesn't make you solid. That doesn't make you stable. It does tell everybody that you will kill someone. Lorne Campbell. Campbell had an associate around this time named Stephen James Reedhead. It's spelt Reedhead, not redhead. So I guess they mean Reedhead. But everyone in Campbell's circle called him Close Up. He was a grim and intense man who got his nickname for his unsettling habit of standing extremely close to people while talking. So close they could feel the heat of his breath as he gave his high-octane views on life. Even more disturbing, what's this hair doing? My hair is even fucking rebellious, people of Earth. It's always been that way. I could have been Medusa. I I could have killed men with a look. Well, I do have an element of that archetype. If a man pisses me off, he's slaughtered with a look, people of Earth. Not literally, but figuratively. What does my psychiatrist say? It's utterly terrifying and chilling, and you are no doubt that you're about to be murdered. Try not to do that, Tanya Aarons. I can't help it, doctor, I said. If they do the wrong thing by me, they get slaughtered with the Medusa glare. You're incorrigible, Tanya Aarons, he says. So they only get that death stare. They have to have been really, really obnoxious. I don't do that lightly, Brian. It actually hurts me inside my soul. Burns like a fire inside. I know, I've seen it. I've been on the receiving end on it once. Well, I said, that's because that was very, very bad. He nodded. We all have things in life that go bad, don't we? Everyone. No one's spared things. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes. Even more disturbing was the story about why he was missing the ring finger, which is the ring finger? This one. On his left hand. That's an odd finger to be missing, quite frankly. Close up, parted with that finger after he became disillusioned with the concept of matrimony in general and his own marriage in particular. In Australian vernacular, we would say, so he was a mad cunt. Oh, you have to laugh. Simply removing his wedding ring didn't seem nearly dramatic enough for the force of the anti-wedlock emotions coursing through him. And so Close Up did the only thing he considered appropriate. He blasted, that would really hurt. He blasted the offending wedding band off with a pistol shot, removing his ring finger as well. Wow. What a statement, people of Earth. Close Up wasn't to be confused with Campbell's friend Sean Nine Fingers McLean, who killed his parents with a shotgun at age 9 because of extreme abuse. High five on that one, Sean Nine Fingers McLean. By the gods, I wished I'd done the same. We didn't have access to guns when we were children. I guess the entire neighbourhood of adults can breathe a sigh of relief about them, because I'm fairly certain at times Lynn felt like killing her dad because of his alcoholism and beating her mother. And I certainly wanted my parents and my paedophile godfather and later Uncle Case eliminated. Oh, it would have been a massive fucking serial killing. But then we could have just dumped, how would two little girls have got their bodies in a dinghy? We wouldn't have been strong enough. But we could have just rowed them out to sea and fed the bastards to the sharks. Oh, that's a lovely fantasy. I can see it now. Row harder, Tanya. Well, anyway, they all lived to ripe old ages, dying of natural attrition. Can't imagine how upset I am about that. And Trevor Singh had a entire lifelong career as a pedophile because nobody would listen to me and no one would stop him. I'm not happy about that either. Not happy at all. But anyway, there is that. So, little Sean McClay, you're a champion in my eyes. An absolute bloody champion and a legend. It was easy to believe Nine Fingers' story after a glance at his nose, which had obviously been broken several times. Campbell was never told how Nine Fingers lost his digit, and he didn't think it proper to ask. Despite the scary backstory, Nine Fingers struck him as a nice and respectful guy. I don't think that's a scary backstory at all. But then I'm a survivor, so I understand what caused him to take that extreme action. Some things call for extreme actions, people of Earth. On November 29th, 1989, have you dropped that loose feather yet? Mummy covets that loose feather. I'm not going to yank it out though, because that would hurt, and that's me. He'll drop it when he's good and ready, won't you, little Kermie? Look at him go. Look. He's got the hang of swinging now. Look how he's turning it side to side. What you doing, Kermie boy? You really love that swing now. It's taken him a while to master it. My goodness. You don't know how much that makes me happy that you're enjoying your swing. Yes, happy boy. He's got the identical type of swing in his outside cage that I bought for the outside cage. So when he's outside, he can swing. Won't use it. It's odd, isn't it? It's odd. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. Right, sorry, I'm distracted by my... Oh, he's back up there. Because he knows he's a good boy. You know you're a good boy. You're my good boy. I've never seen him swing like that before. Turning his body from side to side. What's the little snook's doing? He won't use his swing either. See, he's got the identical swing too. Don't know why he won't use it. I even put the smaller one from his small cage in there. He won't use that either. You going to use your swing, little Bo? Look at your brother. He's swinging. He's a happy swinging boy. I might actually, just bear with me a little bit. I might let him out. Got the heater on because it's cold in here. Yes. Come on then. Come on, handsome boys. Come fly with us. Come fly with the people of Earth. The people of Earth want to see you fly. Oh, dear goddess. Oh, I had a better night, but I still feel a bit weak, you know. It's going to take me a while. Right, where were we? On November 29th, 1989. A police wiretap picked up Campbell talking with Charmaine in the early afternoon. He's out. Campbell was on the road with Close-Up while Charmaine was at their home in Aurelia putting away groceries. It It started as a typical domestic conversation as they talked a little about the money they owed on their Canadian Tire credit card. They joked a little about Christmas, and Charmaine said she had already bought his gift. Then Charmaine teased him a little, saying, "You wouldn't believe what I'm expecting." "It's too bad," Campbell joked back. "I don't like that kind of pressure." The conversation shifted to their dog, Oddie, a Yorkshire Terrier. The toughest dog in the world, pound for pound, I'm told. They're cute little Yorkshire Terriers. Very cute. Campbell said he would be home in a couple of days. Then he teased her a little himself, talking of a new car. "The one you're getting me?" Charmaine asked. "No, I'll see about that one next week. That's what I mean about Christmas presents. Like, I gotta get this car, so don't worry about Christmas presents." You know, don't worry about Christmas presents until January. You know what I mean? It don't have to be Christmas when you get a gift. Charmaine wasn't aware of his plans to buy a used Chevrolet for $1,200 as a joint Christmas gift for both of them. Campbell wasn't aware that others in his circle, including Close-Up, were using car names as code in a drug deal. The phones were tapped. I didn't know that. The 1991 trial that followed in Newmarket, north of Toronto, was short and unsweet. One of the jurors fell asleep during the trial. That was disheartening. I thought that it was important. He was found guilty of conspiracy to traffic cocaine, as the jury didn't buy his story that he was talking about buying a used Chevrolet. The jury concluded that he knowingly drove another man to Montreal to pick up cocaine. That's the only one conviction that I was truly innocent in. With that conviction, Campbell found himself back in the Millhaven Penitentiary Assessment Centre at age 42, facing a 3.5-year term or 1,280 more days behind bars if he didn't get parole. Bob Anderson, one of the prisoners on the maintenance crew, was working in the reception centre and decided to make a strong impression. Anderson weighed well over 350 pounds and was one of the few inmates anywhere in the country with a 500-pound bench press, about double what a large, strong man can lift. Reception is double bunked, and Bob took a monkey wrench and broke the chain on the top bunk in my cell so I wouldn't have to put up with anyone. Bob knew who I was through other people. I don't understand what that means. Broke the chain on the top bunk in my cell so that no one would be able to sleep above him. Is that what they mean? So he'd be in the cell on his own. I think that's what they mean. Maybe it's some obscure reference to something else. Oh look, he's pulling out that loose feather. You pull out that loose feather for the mama-tee. She'll put it in a hat. I'll be riding high with my Kermie mojo next time I wear that hat out. Haven't worn it all winter long. It's odd. It's my winter hat. My top hat. Ah well. The prison hadn't been a pleasant place the first time Campbell was housed there, but it had declined considerably in his absence, Anderson's gesture notwithstanding. Prisoners were no longer allowed to use common rooms for eating, like back in 1983. Oh. There weren't any more hockey games in the winter. There had been drastic changes to the yard, which had previously held 2 baseball diamonds, a miniature golf course, a weight pit, 3 handball walls, a running track, and the outdoor rink. Now it was split into 3 separate yards, and there were only short periods of time when prisoners from each range could go there. Black, white, and Asian prisoners were generally kept apart as gang tensions had grown worse. All in all, it was clear the old neighbourhood had gone downhill. As far as prisons go, Millhaven was a far better place the first time I did time there. There were still familiar faces from his first visit. Career criminals usually have the same MO, modus operandi, and the cops know it. MO goes a long way towards catching them. The worst part about his return was how he found that attitudes of fellow inmates had also worsened. Prisoners now did previously unthinkable things, such as stealing each other's shoes. They're called cell or box thieves, and they're the lowest of the low. In the 80s, they'd never get away with that. They'd get jumped. Jail etiquette, protocol, that's just gone out the window. Even Anderson, the behemoth who gave him the welcome, would prove a disappointment. He was suspected of pilfering money from the prison canteen. Which was a taboo since canteen funds were used to buy sports equipment. For his part, Campbell was determined to stay as positive as possible as he settled into another prison term, even though he maintained he hadn't been part of Close-Up's drug conspiracy. He told himself, "I guess I'll make up for the stuff I didn't get caught for." It was in the Millhaven assessment area that Campbell heard startling news regarding his old friend and would-be murder target, Brian Bo Cage. It had always seemed as if Bo Cage was on borrowed time. Bo Cage had a long-standing problem with heroin, and he had accumulated a dangerous list of enemies. Campbell personally knew of plans for a hit against Bo Cage, since he had been approached to carry it out. Wayne Kelly told me that he wanted Brian Bo Cage killed. He wanted me to do it. I liked Bo Cage. I went and told him. I didn't like Wayne Kelly. Wayne Kelly was a very smart guy. He read a lot of books on brainwashing, things like that. In the end, he turned out to be someone not to be trusted. He was a manipulator. Bo Cage wasn't one to leave a grudge, let alone a murder contract against him, unattended. However, Before he could do anything about Kelly, his own fate was determined by someone he considered a friend. Frank Passarelli of the Loners Motorcycle Club killed him in a rooming house on Lansdowne Avenue in West End, Toronto, after a night of drugs and pornography and an argument over a woman. What an idiotic way to die. Idiotic and embarrassing and shameful. Brian Bocage, perhaps the most feared of the dirty dozen of the Kingston prison riots, died because he had a woman in his room and asked Passarelli to leave. No one is going to ask me to leave for some girl, Passarelli allegedly said, according to the prosecutor who got him convicted of second-degree murder for bludgeoning Bocage to death. By the time police found Bocage's body on March 4th, 1991, his remains had been chewed over by Bouvier dogs owned by another tenant in the rooming house. Well, that's just awful, isn't it? Really awful. Bocage had made it to age 43. 17 of those years were spent behind bars. Also awful. Aside from the damage done by the dogs, his head was almost totally severed from his body, an event that became known in the biker world as 50 whacks with an axe. That's a Lizzie Borden reference, isn't it? Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks, gave her mother 40 more. Can't remember how it ends, but it ended badly for her. I think she got hung, but makes you wonder what Mummy and Daddy were doing to her to make her act out like that. Just saying. Anyway, it's all ugliness, isn't it? Some of us have survived varying hellscapes of putrescence and ugliness, so we get it more than ordinary people who've had wonderful, loving parenting and only sweetness growing up. You'll never understand it in a million years. You'll read about it, you'll see the movies, you'll see the post-traumatic effects, but you'll never fully comprehend it. After all the hard situations he had survived, he had been killed over a few words, just as Campbell had almost killed him over words a half-dozen years earlier. As Campbell lay on his cell bunk and heard of the murder on television, he felt a wave of disgust towards Bocage's killer. He must have been asleep, Campbell says. He had to give it to him in his sleep. Brian wasn't no slouch. My thoughts when I first heard that was to think, what a coward. He couldn't do it when he wasn't sleeping. Campbell was still housed in the Millhaven assessment area when Close-Up rushed into his cell. Guess who got killed? Close-Up was obviously in a good mood. Who? Wayne Kelly. Campbell recalls, it didn't excite me, but he, Close-Up, was excited. He, Kelly, was known as NG, no good, not to be trusted. Kelly, who had floated the contract to have Bocage killed, was shot to death in a Richmond Hill basement by David Skinny Nelson. As Campbell heard the story, Kelly had been using heroin when Nelson walked in on him. It's never safe to walk in on a drug user who has been awake for a couple of days, especially when he has a loaded gun. Skinny Nelson hadn't been considered a violent guy, which led Campbell to conclude that Kelly must have fired first. I was kind of surprised that happened. He nailed him right in the head with the first shot. That's what I heard. Just want to see where my little baby is over there. Handsome boy. Kermie. Alexander Ignatius III. He needs a better name than Kermie. It's beneath his dignity. I mean, I know he's green and all, and frogs are green, but that's the only thing he's got in common with a frog. Kermie. But he likes his name. He wouldn't like me changing it. He responds to his name. Kermie, my love. Kermie. What you got going on over there? What you got going on, cheeky boy? You got it all going on. Yes. The Mama T's got it all going on. Kind of, sort of. Hackle up a lung. The Mama T needs another cup of tea. Who's going to make me a cup of tea? Kermie boy. Do you know that cup of tea were my first words as a baby? Cup of tea. Every morning at 6 o'clock, my mother would shriek to my father, "Make me a cup of tea, David." He'd get up and make it too. He was a good husband in lots of ways for a writhing maniac. Cup of tea, cup of tea, cup of tea. Oh, look, they're so cute. You're so cute, the two of them. Mama's just waiting for your feather. It's not the longest of the tail feathers, but we could work with that. He says, but it's my feather, Mama. It's my beautiful feather. I don't know why is it loose? What happened to that feather? He says, it just happens, Mama. Every now and then you just got to drop a feather. All right, handsome boy. Yes. Handsome boy. Kermie. Kermie. Kermie, 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 Kermie. Plops. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Kermie. Huh. I got you all stirred up now. You're talking to us. Tell the people of Earth, say, what's it like being an Indian ringneck green parrot bird with a loose tail feather and a mad Mama T? Well, he says, by and large, it's pretty good. She got me a better cage. And she's kind of nice to me. I don't trust her yet, and I won't sit on her shoulder. But I'm getting used to that. I'm getting used to that fabulous woman. Right, let's carry on with the story. I do need a cup of tea. Let me finish this chapter. Right. A few more pages to go. It's happening. Nelson was charged with first-degree murder after he sought help at Richmond Hill's York Central Hospital for gunshot wounds to his stomach. Ouch. Murder's always at least a little unsettling, even in Campbell's world, but it was never totally shocking when serious drug users met unnatural ends. So it also wasn't surprising when Skinny Nelson died of a drug overdose not so long after that in Collins Bay. This was a heavy crew. Campbell's conditions improved markedly when he was transferred from the Millhaven Assessment Centre. What's going on? It's just scuffling and shuffling. And all right, now he's in Bo's cage. There'll be some serious harassment going on. Might have to keep an eye on that, people of Earth. What are you doing to his bowl? Oh. Well, that's not friendly, is it? I'll have to separate you. Yes. Don't you be picking on my little Bo. Sorry. Campbell's conditions improved markedly when he was transferred from the Millhaven Assessment Centre to the low-security Bath detention camp. It would take only a few minutes to walk from Millhaven to Bath, if you could somehow make it past the armed guards and the double gates and the razor-wide fences. But the two institutions are, in fact, worlds apart. Millhaven is designed to hide you away and severely restrict your every movement, while Bath is preparation for life on the outside. Bath is ringed by a fence and barbed wire, but inside that fence, men live in trailers or houses and often barbecue their own meals. An official Campbell knew at the Millhaven Assessment Centre made sure that prisoners he liked or who would pay him $2,000 were sent to Bath and not to a heavy institution such as Collins Bay. The official was a fat, often drunk man who liked to belly fight bikers and steal chocolate bars from their cells. His wife was dying of cancer and he was clearly becoming unhinged by stress and loss. Once a prisoner tied a string to a Mars chocolate bar and placed it in the hallway. You have to laugh. When the portly guard bent over to pick it up, the prisoner yanked on the string. It took several more tries before the official caught on that the prisoner was fishing for him. "Fuck you," he finally snorted before waddling off. Other times, the fat official announced that he was taking prisoners off to a work detail. Then it was down to the kitchen. "Come on, Kermie, come out of there, good boy." Then it was down to the kitchen where they would dine on pilfered steak. The official was eventually fired for corruption. Where's he gone? Sorry, I just got to keep an eye on him. Alright. Stalking like an avenging angel from above. I'm watching you, Kermie. Eyes are watching you. Yes, handsome birdie. He's not really doing anything, is he? Right, I can calm my phone. Not long after arriving back in custody, Campbell got class of 91 tattooed on his chest, using the high E string of a guitar and the small motor of a transistor radio. He was given a job as clerk, ordering clothing and supplies for a couple of hours a day. A prison official noted in his file that he works well in a difficult area and has learned the job quickly with little supervision. End quote. Much of the rest of his time was spent working out. As prison stays went, it was relatively comfortable. One counsellor wrote in his file, "Lorne appears to have a positive attitude and is a very pleasant individual." In one psychological test, Campbell was asked if he thought of himself as a worthless person. "Not at all," he replied. He gave the same answer when asked if he felt that life wasn't worth living. Asked if thoughts of suicide kept coming into his mind, Campbell replied, "Definitely not." He's let me know he prefers it when I open the cage top open. He's showing me he's agitated. He wants that top open. Anyway. He was classed as a multiple recidivist with a maladaptive lifestyle. But staff also concluded that Campbell wasn't out of control and lacking impulse control. To the contrary, he appeared very much in command of himself, however wild his actions might appear to an outsider. In the world of freelance debt collection, beating someone with a hammer was a logical method of enforcing verbal contracts. Violence was planned and designed for effect rather than impulsive plus uncontrolled, his file states. There was also a certain order to his personal interactions, Stuff concluded. He told his psychologist that he deeply loved his wife Charmaine, whom he had been with for 17 years. That said, he also didn't feel any guilt over a string of one-night stands during his married life. This was simply part of the biker lifestyle, as he told things, and he gave no hint of ever wanting to leave that lifestyle or the Satan's choice. His case management officer wrote, "Still member of Satan's choice, very solid with his club." For Charmaine, this was the second time she'd had to deal with her husband doing federal prison time. Since quitting school as a young teen, she had always managed to support herself, working in an office and at the Mitsubishi plant in Midland that made colour television tubes, and then dancing in strip clubs across the province. Through it all, even while dancing, she remained a loyal and loving wife. She was always there for me. She visited without fail. She was doing everything for me. Campbell was proud of how Charmaine always managed to hold things together, even though life had never been easy. Oshawa in the 1960s and 1970s had a reputation as a city with lots of good unionised jobs, and perhaps that's why her parents moved the family there from Nova Scotia. Her parents split after the move, and Charmaine learned early on to stay positive in difficult times. She never had an enemy in the world. Everyone loved her. Among her friends was a former co-worker at Mitsubishi named Evelyn Hughes. Charmaine and Evelyn had met in 1986 when they were both taking a weekend course at Georgian College in Barrie to obtain their motorcycle licences. Evelyn was impressed with Charmaine's no-crap attitude towards an instructor who didn't seem to think women should ride motorcycles, and who went out of his way to make the course difficult for Charmaine and Evelyn in particular. In the end, they both got their licences. "We were the only two girls that passed," Evelyn says. "There were 5 or 6 of us." Soon they were enjoying regular potato pancake breakfasts together as friends. Evelyn hit the roads on a maroon 750 Suzuki, while Charmaine rode a black one. Getting a Harley to fit a smallish woman simply wasn't in the cards, but the Suzuki frame was a manageable size for Evelyn. "I could reach the ground on it," Evelyn recalls. "We could leave the guys in the dust," and we often did. Evelyn was a comfort to Charmaine when Charmaine went into hospital for a hysterectomy. It was during this operation that doctors discovered Charmaine had advanced cancer. She was transferred to hospital in Kingston, where medical treatment was better. Evelyn and another friend, Jackie Ross, had stayed with her for the last 7 weeks, providing whatever comfort they could. But it was clear their friend's health wouldn't be getting better. Campbell was allowed out on day passes to visit her and given permission to sleep in a cot by her hospital bed in the cancer ward. The cancer had hit Charmaine's lymph nodes, so they all knew the end wasn't far away. Without a morphine derivative, the final months would have been unbearable for her. It hurt her even to blink, Campbell says. She would alternate between seeming to be worlds away and being totally focused and in the moment. She'd be not there, then she'd be sharp as a pin. On April 14, 1993, 10 months after Campbell got the news that Charmaine had cancer, she died in his arms at home. She was coherent right to the day she died. She had cancer everywhere but her brain. She was a beautiful woman, beautiful personality. Jackie had stayed with her for the last 7 weeks, and she and Evelyn lovingly bathed her, washed her hair, and did her makeup before anyone from the funeral home arrived. Among those who sent their condolences was Dave, the undercover cop who had attended their wedding, eaten at their table, and weathered Charmaine's verbal blast after she learned he was really a cop working against her husband. He wanted to come to her funeral. His captain told him he couldn't. Campbell was on parole at the time of her death. He moved in with his friend Larry Valentine so that he wouldn't be alone. I don't think I was right for a long time. I was devastated. Just devastated. Right, let's just see how long chapter 23 is. A few pages. Right, I'm just going to make a cup of tea. I was going to end today's reading, but I'll just make a cup of tea, people of Earth, and we'll do another chapter. And then I'll quit for the day. So I'll be right back. Have a look at what my birdie boys are doing while I'm out of the room. Bet you they get up to mischief like all my kids. By the gods. Right. Are you being good boys? Are you being good? Mama's got this in this room here. Oh. Manifest a lotto win. That's going to fucking happen, Mama too. Right, here we go. Not too off now, actually. My kettle takes forever to boil, so I'll hang with you a bit. Are you drinking again? Oh, you really are upset about that worming solution, aren't you? It really upset the little bow. Yes, I'll tell you what's more upsetting though. Orbs. So you just have to handle it, chickie babe. Where's the other one? I don't even know if he took his medicine. I saw you drink some of that, but I don't know if the Kermie did. Well, we just have to hope for the best, won't we? Yes, my little schnooks. Are you the little schnooky? Why are you biting your foot? Why do you do that? It's completely irrational. Ouch! Don't do that. Don't do that. Kermie will happily bite your foot for you. Happily snap his neck too, but shh, we won't be going there. Here we go, we're waiting for the kettle to boil. Dear goddess. I think I need a new kettle, one that works a bit faster. Wow, you should see the beautiful sunshine outside, people of Earth. Look at that. Just look. Amazing. finish this chapter and I'll get dressed and take my little handsome boys out in the garden. You want to go in the garden, handsome boys? You do? You do want to go in the garden? You can't see them. Here we are. Yes. You come fly with me. Come fly with me. Come fly with me. Right, I hear the sound of boiling water, people of Earth. I'll be back. I'll be back. Hello, my little handsome boy. What are you doing? You're showing Mama that you can bite your cuttlefish and that you've got a very sharp beak and it's primed and ready. Right, beautiful people of planet Earth. And Mama T is back in the room. There we go. Have another little bit of a kraut biscuit. Wow. We'll continue on now with, I've got the sun slam dunking me in the eyeballs and I don't like that. I'm sensitive eyes. Right, here we go. Chapter 23. Smuggler's Alley. We were making money hand over fist. Lorne Campbell. It didn't take long after Campbell's release from prison in March 1993 for a friend to call with an employment offer. It wasn't parole board approved. Campbell was asked to provide security for smugglers moving cigarettes from the United States to Canada via the St. Regis Mohawk Reservation and or Akwesasne Reserve that spanned upstate New York and eastern Ontario on the St. Lawrence River. He would be working for two white guys from the Cornwall area with ties to Mohawk smugglers and organised criminals of various ethnic groups in Ontario and Quebec. About a dozen such groups operated in the area, and smugglers needed protection from their underworld rivals. Campbell picked 3 helpers from the Oshawa Satan's Choice and started accepting jobs that paid him as much as $3,000 or $4,000 a day. Crime doesn't pay ultimately though, does it, people of Earth? Calm your farm, Tanya Aarons. Calm your farm. In what seemed like no time, Campbell was so flush with money that he gave $100 to a panhandler in Cornwall while leaving a Mexican restaurant. Well, that was kind, wasn't it? You got plenty of money. Look after the homeless for the love of all the gods. What goes round comes around too. Yeah, but for the grace of God could go you. I absolutely loathe and detest people who are vicious to the homeless. I used to see it a lot when I hung out at the end of my nights dancing at the Treasury Casino. I would hang out with my homeless friends and I would see the gamblers who were losers of much bigger losers than them because they're losing thousands of dollars every weekend, sometimes all week, because they're addicted gamblers. And these utter wastebins of society would come out and spit at and denigrate and just be nasty to the homeless. There was a couple of times I defended my friend Katrina, who was often out of her mind, you know, bless her little cotton socks. And they'd start, and they didn't know who I was. You know, I'm just sitting there with her. They assumed I was homeless too. All sweaty, my hair all sweaty and worn out and bedraggled after hours of dancing. And of course I'd be sitting down on the ground with her. They're sort of a bit drunk and condescending. Anyway, they'd start shit with her, being vicious, and I'd be up on my feet and I'd say, how dare you, low-grade trash, scum. I said, dare look down on my friends when you've been gambling all night and blown all your money, you absolute bloody losers. One or two would try to start. I wouldn't start with me if I were you. Oh, why not? I said, because you're drunk and I'm sober. Or they'd run down the road, skipping and running like naughty little boys. Oh, it was almost like a cosplay, except it was real. It was awful. Awful. Or they'd do things like, oh, I'm going to give you $100 when I win the next hand. I'd look at Katrina, I'd say, Jesus, I wouldn't hold my breath if I were you. You might turn blue. And she'd laugh and laugh. She goes, it's true. They promise me money, but they never give it to me because the worst losers the we are. I know, honey, I said. I know. If I ever win a massive big lotto, I used to say to her, I'm going to buy you a house, Katrina. But never won the lotto because I don't gamble that often because I don't believe in it. Really, I don't believe in it. But I buy the occasional ticket just on, you know, just for the shits and giggles. But I've got a long-standing promise. If I ever win a big lotto, I'm buying that woman a house. Would she stay in a house though? Would she even stay in it? Don't know, but that is an earthquake. That is an actual fucking earth tremor. What's the time? It's still going. 9:50 a.m. on the 15th of August. You heard it here. That, my friends, is an earth tremor. Still rolling. Holy shit. I don't think I've ever experienced an earth tremor here in Brisbane, Australia. Oh, not for many years. You should have warned your mama, birdie boys. Holy shit. I'm gobsmacked. Wait, there might be some aftershocks. We'll just wait a little bit. I am gobsmacked. I'm used to them in New Zealand, where I come from, in Wellington. Happen all the time, every day, sometimes several times a day. Wow. I wonder if any of the neighbours felt it. I only felt it because I could hear all my things rattling here on my step cabinet. It was like, what's going on here? And then I could feel the vibration. Wow, baby girls and baby boys, did the earth move for you today? Yes, it did, but not in the way we'd like. Oh my goodness. I'm astonished. Wow. Here in Holland Park in the hills, an actual earth tremor. In my house, all the stumps underneath my house, they're concrete stumps, they're all cracked and broken. So to be honest, I'm a little bit worried, because if it was a big enough earthquake, it wouldn't take much for this house to completely collapse. It wouldn't. I've told them about the stumps ages ago, a few years back. They sent this engineer out. All he did was stare at my legs from under the house as I went around the garden. I'm looking at him, what are you doing there, you misfit? Then his report was there was nothing wrong with the stumps. They've got massive big fucking cracks and they're all breaking apart, but they're not structurally unsafe. What a moron. All he could think of was his dick. I'll have to get housing to send another one out, and I'll say, send me a woman engineer next time. My luck, they'll send her a raging bloody lesbian, because you can't win sometimes. You know how it is. Also, I have lovely legs. Can't help that. Wow. An actual earth tremor. Quite excited by that. I was freaking out for a moment. I thought, how bad is that going to be? Will I have to get under a doorway or under my desk? Anyway, it's all good, people of Earth. It's all good. He was just elated, the panhandler he gave the $100 to. I thought about it later. I thought, I probably killed the bugger. If he goes around anybody out there with a $100 bill, they'd kill him. They won't, you know. They're pretty good to each other, the homeless. They often share it when they get big gifts like that. They're very good. Most of them, by and large, are very honouring people in their little community. You know, they're all fucking in it together. There's a camaraderie on the streets. Even the junkies kind of look out for each other. Probably safer amongst them out in the streets than I am in my local neighbourhood, if the truth be known. By the gods. No one's come out to check anything out. Maybe they didn't feel it. But you could see it, couldn't you? You could hear it rattling and shaking. Rattle and roll, babies. Anyway. I wonder where the epicenter was for it to be felt here. Might have been close. Really close. His parole officer sensed something was afoot. "What have you been up to?" he asked during one meeting. "Not too much, sitting in the backyard." "How many trucks do you have?" the parole officer asked. "I've just got a car." "That's not what I hear." "What do you hear?" "You haven't got a few trucks?" "No." "Why?" The parole officer didn't answer. "Why would you say that?" The parole officer didn't say why he would say that. It was early morning work as Campbell stood guard while smugglers picked up cases of cigarettes on the American side of the St. Lawrence River. One pickup spot was a warehouse with visible stacks of bills, which he estimates ran well into the millions of dollars. Campbell often sat waiting in a boat laden with 80 cases of cigarettes, holding a massive firearm. He kept his eye on hijackers who prowled the shore in speedboats, ready to pounce and steal Campbell's cargo. They'd see you with a machine gun and just go, "Fuck that." I wouldn't be arguing with a machine gun either. Don't argue with guns. It's not the gun that's dangerous, it's the lunatic behind it. By the gods. It was a 40-minute trip at the St. Lawrence River. Sorry, I've missed a bit. We will go back a paragraph. There's nothing like going down the river at 80 miles an hour in a flat-bottomed boat with a bunch of cigarettes. You have a machine gun on your lap and you don't trust the guy with you and he doesn't trust you. That would be a sick feeling. I can't trust the bloody earth beneath my feet now. Rockin', rollin', moving, writhing, wriggling. Like the worm, the W-U-R-M, or the rainbow serpent of Aboriginal law. She's on the move, she's a wriggling. Right. It was a 40-minute trip on the St. Lawrence River and Campbell only had to make one trip a night. Each boat held about 80 cases, each of which contained 50 cartons of cigarettes. One on the Canadian side of the river. Campbell and his cronies moved the cigarettes to safe houses where they could be stored temporarily. They had houses all along the river. They were paying people just to use their houses. Cigarettes bound for Quebec were then loaded onto bogus Purolator vans. I don't know what a Purolator van is. Ambulances, or even a limousine complete with a driver in a suit and a black cap. Earlier smugglers had used transport trucks, but police caught on to them, forcing them into more discreet vehicles. Smaller trucks were often bought at a gas station and or car lot north of Toronto, whose owners had invariably purchased them at auctions. They were fitted with special switches to allow all their lights to be shut off instantly, making them hard to see when parked at night. The vehicles were further modified with ultra-hard suspensions, so they would ride high off the road even when carrying heavy loads. The cops see a load truck, they pull it over, Campbell says. Ontario was safer ground for the smugglers than Quebec. Getting caught only meant losing the load for a first offence, losing the vehicle for a second, and the possibility of imprisonment for a third. Sorry. Since the trucks were registered under a multitude of names, the odds of anyone being nabbed for multiple offences were minimal. The smugglers didn't bother to disguise the vans heading to Toronto. Wasn't worth the bother. The smugglers' level of planning impressed Campbell. Cards were... Did I say cards? I didn't know. By the gods. Guards were stationed on highway overpasses to watch for police, both on the roads and in the air. Night vision goggles allowed them to see high in the sky to detect police surveillance aircraft that couldn't be heard or seen from the road. They also had jumbo-sized cell phones that looked like something out of the North African conflict in World War II. It was so fucking organised. I couldn't believe it. Smugglers had to budget for boats, trucks, safe house storage, security and drivers. That said, the profits were staggering. The wholesale value of each boatload was about $56,000, depending on the brand of cigarettes, while the retail value for consumers was roughly $320,000. There were money counting machines that could quickly detect counterfeit bills. The few times bogus bills were found, the culprits acted mortified and quickly offered proper currency, as well as a generous tip to mollify Campbell's business partners. Cash was stuffed into duffel bags to the tune of $500,000 a bag, and it was the job of Campbell and his crew to protect and move that money. Every day there was at least $500,000 we'd take over to the island to pay for the cigarettes. His crew included Musclehead and Stan from the Oshawa Choice. They each received $1,000 a week as base pay, plus extras for running errands, delivering money, or doing extra security work. On Stan's first day on the job, his task was to bring $500,000 in a duffel bag to the water's edge, where he was to give it to a man who would come by in a boat. His name's going to be Bob, Stan was told. A man came by in a boat and stopped in front of Stan. "Are you Bob?" Stan asked. "No, I'm Jack. Bob's sick today." Stan was armed with a .38 revolver, which was nothing to snicker at, but Jack was packing a machine gun, which could have cut Stan in half. He, Stan, didn't want to be on the boat with him. As is often the case, the man with the bigger gun and the most bullets won out, and so Stan stepped into the boat with the $500,000 and headed out to the middle of the waters with Jack. The middle of St. Lawrence isn't a comforting place to be. In the middle of the night, when you're carrying $500,000 in cash and sitting across from a stranger with a loaded machine gun. Stan stared at Jack and his gun. Jack stared back at Stan and his .38. The only sound was the whir of the motor. As Campbell tells it, there was only smugglers and lakers, commercial vessels, on the water at night, They were just looking at each other. To Stan's great relief, Jack turned out to be telling the truth. Stan's first job didn't end with him shot and dumped overboard. Later that day, Stan told Campbell, "Lorne, if it was anybody else but you, I'd have been gone." Mornings often meant breakfast in the dining room of a Cornwall hotel where they could expect to see RCMP officers, that would be Royal Canadian Mounted Police, eating a few tables over, close to members of the military. As a professional courtesy, smugglers and police generally left each other alone while getting ready for their work days, except to perhaps say hi. Sometimes Campbell's party was joined by Dwayne, a Mohawk who would carry on an entire conversation using only different inflections and combinations of ha. Dwayne, I shouldn't laugh, but it's kind of funny. Dwayne seemed to assume he could behave with total impunity, and from what Campbell saw, "Oi! What's going on here? Little Bo, you're in danger, my little man. You better come out with the mama tea. Come on, get away from that Alexander Ignatius III homicidal maniac. What do you say, little Bo?" Right, my darlings. And from what Campbell saw, he was correct, as he was generally surrounded by 4 or 5 other Mohawk men who gave the impression they would proudly die for him. On occasion, Dwayne placed a big bowl of cocaine on the table in plain view of other diners and snorted a long line, as if this were a normal part of anyone's breakfast. Like the operators of many a thriving business, the smugglers threw a company Christmas party with a live band and presents and prizes under a tree. First prize at the smugglers' ball was a 4x4 truck, while the runner-up received a high-speed cigarette boat. That night at the banquet, a blonde woman came on to another woman at Campbell's table. When a love connection wasn't made with her, the blonde made a pass at Campbell, who also rejected her. It's not pleasant when your partner publicly tries to stray from you. It adds insult to injury when your partner attempts to stray with both genders and is rejected by both right in front of you while your peers watch in amusement. So it wasn't surprising that the husband of the blonde woman didn't react well when Campbell told her to cut it out. They were swingers, Campbell says. No sooner had Campbell brushed her off Then the husband sucker punched him in the nose. Campbell responded with a stiff left, then threw him down the stairs. There the husband found himself questioned by Stan from the Oshawa choice, who was working security for the soiree. "What happened to you?" Stan asked. "I got into a fight with Lorne." Out of loyalty to his friend, Stan caught him hard in the head with a karate-style roundhouse kick. They were on slushy ground and both fell over, which embarrassed Stan. The brawling aside, it was an enjoyable evening, even though Campbell didn't win the truck or the speedboat, and someone stole envelopes of cash from a hotel room that were intended as gifts for attendees. That was a good party. If Campbell had known the identities of some of his partners in the smuggling enterprise, the level of organisation wouldn't have been so surprising. Working alongside the bikers, mafiosi, native gangsters and Asian gang members were top-level executives of the tobacco industry. I keep hearing or sensing the energy. There's more little earth tremors going to happen. I don't know whether it's today or in a few days, but my ears are actually feeling like sore and tight from the pressure. It's odd. Maybe it's just a trauma response, because I actually did get a shock. I thought my bed was shaking the other day, and I thought, oh, I'm imagining it. I must be having some kind of funny fucking turn. No, that would have been an earth tremor too. Right, where were we? Working alongside the bikers, mafiosi, native gangsters and Asian gang members were top-level executives of the tobacco industry in an effort to exploit the high taxes on cigarettes. Tobacco executives were selling large caches of contraband smokes to smugglers through middlemen. This allowed the business people to work both the legitimate and the illegal ends of the multi-billion-dollar tobacco market. You go to jail if you're caught with chop here. I think the sentencing for being caught with illegal tobacco is worse than being caught with cannabis. In December 1998, executives in the Northern Brands International Unit of the RJR Nabisco Holdings Corporation pleaded guilty in federal district court in Binghamton, New York, to criminal charges stemming from a scheme to smuggle cigarettes into Canada through the Akwesasne Reserve and avoid both Canadian and American taxes. Sometimes Campbell rode shotgun on loads bound for Chinese and Vietnamese criminals in upscale Toronto neighbourhoods. He arrived at dawn, and the people receiving the loads were precise about the time. Showing up a little early or a little late wasn't permitted, and often Campbell had to cool his heels, which they've spelled H-E-A-L-S, but they mean H-E-E-L-S. Had to cool his heels at a nearby McDonald's restaurant while waiting for his time. Then the truck would be backed into a laneway. Some of those lanes were so narrow, he had to retract the truck's mirrors so it would fit. Someone dropped a tarp in front and in back of the truck, and Campbell remained inside in the dark as it was unloaded. No words were exchanged with whoever was picking up the cigarettes, and within 15 minutes, not much longer than it takes to drive through a car wash, he was back on the road. Campbell also acted as a bodyguard when money was exchanged, making sure there were no rip-offs when cash was laid out on the table. For 2 weeks in October 1993, he was paid to stay in the West End of Toronto, watching television in a Holiday Inn bar near Highway 401 on the Blue Jays, as the Blue Jays tried for their second straight World Series title. Campbell wasn't a big baseball fan, but he still got caught up in the excitement when Joe Carter homered for his series-winning run. By the gods, I'm thirsty today. A few problems cropped up when some junior members of Campbell's side routinely came up a couple of $100 short. A former Vietnamese soldier who was receiving the money suggested Campbell help one of the offending men improve his counting. "You take one of them, you take him and snip his finger off," he said, sounding as if he were giving tips on how to prune a rosebush. He wanted the offender to confess that he had been skimming money. "If he don't talk, you snip off his other finger," the former soldier continued. If there was still no confession, he advised, "You snip off his wrist." This was too much even for Campbell. He knew they shouldn't steal, but he'd got to know them on ironworking jobs and didn't think they were bad guys. "Slow down," he said. "They don't need that." It was clear the former soldier was speaking from personal experience. "He's serious," Campbell says. "He ain't trying to scare me. This guy's done it. He wants me to do it." He was not excited. He was saying, "This is how you do it." Throughout the summer, the atmosphere in Akwesasne smuggling circles took on an increasingly Wild West flavour. Once on reserve, gangsters who were standing just a few feet from Campbell opened fire with machine guns at an army helicopter overhead. The pilot clearly didn't hear or see what was happening as he hovered dangerously nearby. Campbell exploded at the gunman. "If you shoot this down, they will bomb us," he warned. One of the natives got too familiar for his liking, started calling him Harley Man. Campbell had never been big on nicknames. Yeah, I don't like nicknames much either, to be honest. He'd never been big on nicknames and wasn't starting now, especially with people from outside the club. I said, "The next time you call me Harley Man, I'll stab you in the throat." Just the sight of a Mountie sitting in his cruiser was enough to enrage Dwayne one day. "Cookie, go down there and beat him up," he ordered a Blackfoot from out west. Cookie seemed eager to begin his assignment, but Dwayne called him back for a few minutes. "Hey, wear your war paint," Dwayne ordered. "It wasn't a joke," Campbell recalls. "That's so cool, man. I'm sorry, but I actually identify with Native Americans. It's partly why I'm a shaman, I think. I identify, although I'm a white Jewish hobbit, witch, shaman, voodoo, Stalin queen, but not literally, you understand. But I identify with Indigenous peoples, probably because I grew up being oppressed too. And I just love the idea of a Native American in full war paint pulling a, well, in this case it was a cop, off his perch and giving him a good pummeling. If he deserved it, you understand. Got to deserve it. But anyway, I just love that. I wonder if they made that up. But if they did, I would have paid to see that. It would have been awesome. Anyway, Cookie goes down with his war paint, drug him out of the car and bet him. And nothing was done about it. Probably gave him the fright of his bloody life. It's one thing being beaten up by, some random Native American you don't even know, but one with full war paint on going to town on ya. Ooh, that would have been a terrifying moment. One afternoon, not that I endorse violence, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying, if you're going to be violent, do it in style. Oh my God. Oh, you have to laugh. One afternoon in the summer of 1993, Campbell was on the reserve with two of his native contacts as they talked about selling guns to a couple of white strangers. Campbell had a bad feeling about the strangers and sent one of the choice members to follow them. He reported back that they had driven to a fast food restaurant where several police cars soon appeared. There had been increased heat from the police after someone threatened the life of Cornwall's mayor twice and opened fire with an automatic rifle in a city building. Tensions were stoked by the shooting of a Quebecois smuggler in the stomach for refusing to hire natives to work with him. I was on parole and my instincts told me it was time to move on. They hated to see me go, but understood and are still friends. I just wish I could have been there a year earlier. The money was great, but Campbell didn't second guess his decision to leave. He didn't fancy any more prison time, and he had already made enough to buy a new Harley and a nice headstone for Charmaine's grave. He hired a stoneworker to chisel into the granite the image of an owl gracefully landing. Charmaine collected owls, stuffed owls, always. I just started getting her owls. She'd buy them everywhere she went. It's sweet. So on that note, we've finished the story for today, and I'll be back tomorrow with chapter 24. And stay cool, stay safe. Try not to shake it too much, babies, and have a beautiful day wherever you are in the space-time continuum here on planet Earth. Goddess bless, as always. And to my Jewish compatriots, Shabbat Shalom.